This is a Security Weekly production.
This is Will Cooper. I'm at the 2016 IPCPR Trade Show and Convention in Las Vegas, Nevada on opening day. And I am here for a special Stogie Geeks Shorts edition. We're really honored to welcome back the Davidoff Chief Executive Officer, Hans-Kristian Hoejsgaard, who's going to spend a little time with us. Hans-Kristian, how you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Great to see you again, and welcome back to Las Vegas.
Well, thank you. And it's it seems like we were just talking yesterday about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I love talking about Davidoff. And there was no shortage of excitement with Davidoff in the last year. And you and I are smoking the newest creation on the Discovery pillar.
Exactly.
Yamasa.
Yeah, exactly. And that's obviously our big news at the show, and we are launching it officially today. And this is obviously a specific, very interesting, exciting launch for us, because this is now the fruits of 20 years of work in the Yamasa region. You know that we bought some land there 20 years ago and Henki Kellner has been really battling to try and tame this wilderness of Yamasa in the Dominican Republic. And here we have now a fantastic cigar with a Yamasa wrapper, a Yamasa binder, and then we have some Nicaraguan and Dominican in the filler. So it's a beautiful product that's basically been 20 years in the making.
It's fantastic. And I go back to the theme of innovation. There was a challenge with this region, but obviously Henki saw something, the company saw something where this region was going to produce some very special tobaccos.
Exactly, and I think that's, that, as you know, the last few years has been very much on our agenda. We want to be innovation leader, and obviously Henki started on this particular project long before that, but that obviously fits very well into what we want to do to try new tastes, try new origins, and really try to perfect things in the Davidoff way. So this is very much an innovation play, yes.
Yeah, and obviously the cigar, it's officially, I guess it's kind of hit the stores a few weeks ago, but this is the big. No,
it has not hit the store yet. No, it starts shipping today actually.
Okay.
So it has just been a little bit. The sales guys has been out there presenting it, and maybe a few weeks prior, but nobody has it yet in the stores. But
I actually did get to smoke it a little early.
Right.
I got a little excited.
Right.
And it's a fantastic line. So innovation, the Discovery pill has been very important to Davidoff, and I think earlier this year you've continued and you introduced something very unique into that Discovery pill with the box press.
Yes, that was obviously a major stepping stone for us. As you know, we have never done box press before in Davidoff, but we felt this was the right move for the black line, for the Discovery pillar, and had a phenomenal response to that Davidoff Nicaragua box press, particularly the Toro, but across the line.
Did you ever, as far as Davidoff goes, Davidoff's known for certain things, and in the last few years you've taken a lot more risks. Obviously the Nicaraguan Puro, going to Brazil with Escurio, box pressing. Do you feel there was risks? Do you feel like people said, well, that's not Davidoff, and how do you respond to that? Right. I think it's a great thing, by the way.
Right, thank you. But I of course, it's always a risk when you go outside your comfort zone, you could say. But my philosophy, our philosophy, is really that Davidoff is a brand, and we are not origin dependent. And if we can apply the quality and the consistency that is the hallmarks of our brand, we thought it would be exciting to try and conquer new territories. And that's obviously was really the breakthrough with Davidoff Nicaragua in 2013, and we have just continued to go there, not to give up on the classic white label line, which is doing extremely well also, but it was obviously an opportunity to attract new consumers, new smokers, new cigar enjoyers to the brand.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it's been some really unique. Obviously, these are some very unique cigars there.
Right.
Yeah. So going across the brands, Camacho continuing to do very strong. In my opinion, it's probably the most successful rebranding in the history of the cigar business. Just 3 years into this, and it just continues to roll.
Yeah, that is a beautiful story, and since we last met a year ago, although as we just said it felt like last week,
right.
But it is a year ago. But basically Camacho now has really become our second, I would say, global pillar. Camacho was very much a U.S. property, but
right.
We then launched it in Europe, and it has taken on fire in Europe as well. So we are very excited that we now have really two legs to stand on globally. And obviously then we relaunched last year Avo as well, which is mainly a US exercise, but also strong in Germany and Switzerland. So we're very excited about how these three brands are doing.
You've put innovation into all those brands too. I see with Camacho you're making some of the tobacco, you're making some of the products in the Dominican Republic now.
Right, we do.
Obviously, what you did last year with American barrel aged.
Yeah, that was really the Dominican adventure as well. I mean, Camacho is a Honduran brand, and it will continue to be that. And we, as you know, we are just about to open our new factory down there. But obviously, once in a while, also from an innovation perspective, it was exciting to do one line in the Dominican.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And then we talked about Avo. They've incorporated the theme of innovation. They've started to introduce Nicaraguan tobaccos with Syncro and Syncro Fagata.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no question, as you know, that Nicaragua is a hot destination, and I think when we launched Davidoff Nicaragua in 2013, I think we can say that we sort of also, from a premium perspective, legitimized Nicaragua as an origin. And obviously after that you have seen an explosion of Nicaraguan versions, and it was only natural for us to start incorporating that also in Avo and Camacho.
What I liked about what you did with Syncro is the Syncro Nicaragua box pressing, something not Davidoff's not known of. But then when you incorporated some of those Ometepe tobaccos,
yes,
and then for Fagata you went and incorporated some different tobaccos in there, which I thought was really interesting because it gave another side of Nicaragua with that.
Exactly, and I think we learned a lot out of our experiment with Davidoff Nicaragua, where we were the first one at the premium end to do a puro, and actually incorporating all four areas: Jalapa, Ometepe, Condega, and Esteli, and we learned a lot there, and that we are now applying that knowledge to Avo and eventually Camacho also.
Yeah, and obviously Avo had a big cigar aficionado rating last year.
Yes.
Which I think was the first time it landed the brand, right, on there?
Yes, absolutely. It was the to get in there, the top 10, in the top 25 is obviously an accomplishment, and that was a very, very big step for Avo. And I have to say now with the Davidoff Nicaragua box press, who just got the highest rating that Cigar Journal has ever given a cigar in its history, was just another vote of confidence that we are getting it right.
Yeah, there was another rebranding that's kind of been quieter. Not quieter, but Cusano's seen a lot more action this year, where you've kind of overhauled the portfolio with that.
Right. I mean, we are on that little bus tour, right, there, where we have done rebranding now of the brands, and Cusano was important because Cusano is obviously playing a very different role in our portfolio. It's a lower price play, and it's an area where we also want to play and get the opportunity to get into other channels, and sort of applying the same thing in terms of innovation, in terms of consistency, craftsmanship, playing on Nicaragua again, and really offering a great value cigar in that price level.
No, it was I've always liked Cusano and its great values, and
right.
The packaging looked great. You've obviously put a new Nicaragua blends in.
Yeah, exactly. And I ran into Michael Cusano in the halls yesterday and said, "You really got my brand right." He still calls it my brand, but but you really understand it and the philosophy, and so that's we are very excited about.
I've noticed with the Davidoff experience that you've kind of expanded it to lifestyle. So over the past few years, I've seen, for example, recently the golf cigars with the Davidoff scorecard edition.
Yes.
Obviously, you've had the art editions. You just launched the new art edition. That's the area of the arts around the art edition. And now this year, the culinary arts.
Right.
By the way, the chef's edition
exactly.
is a cigar of the year candidate in my book. It is unbelievable. All of them have great cigars. Chefs, how did that all come about? The
Chefs is a wonderful project that actually came about. We have always, as Davidoff, been very closely linked to the gastronomy sector. Big chefs always was excited about. So we came up with this idea of inviting 6 Michelin star chefs to come help us design the cigars, and so we had some great sessions where we said, you work with taste and aroma every day. Tell us something that will really be a great cigar after a sumptuous meal that you have created. So this was, a fabulous project, and had been such a success that we are going to continue that, and will work with hopefully getting now American chefs into the picture for 2017-18, Asian chefs for further down the road, so we can really start having a chef's collection, not only a chef's edition.
That is, if folks haven't tried that cigar, I really encourage them to get it.
Me too. It's one of my favorite too. Will.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it hit, like I said, it just hit another area of that. It's Davidoff, yet it's not Davidoff, is what I'll say. It's a little bolder, a little spicier, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
Good. So you mentioned some of the future projects, but obviously the big elephant in the room is FDA.
Yes.
What is Davidoff's strategy navigating the FDA in the short term right now?
Well, right now it's all about getting ready for that process. As you know, there is the big shocker in this whole regulation was the predicate date, which is February 15, 2007. And that means everything we have launched, and that includes all of our big successes from Nicaragua to Yamasa to Escurio and Winston Churchill, that we really now have to just prepare for that very, very costly process of getting all approved. So our strategy is continue to do what we have done. You will see here at the IPCPR, we are not coming out as others are with a flood of new products. We are coming out here with exactly what we planned 6, 9, 12 months ago, and really focusing on that. And we will come out on the other side stronger, I think, because I think we are very well prepared. We had, as opposed to many American companies, the advantage of having just been through more or less the same process in Europe. Because May 20th this year we had a new regulation taking force in the European Union. So at least from a process perspective, getting ingredients, components, health warnings, new packaging to match it, and all of that. So I think we are in a good place to move forward. The only thing is, of course, it's very sad that we all have to spend time now on regulations and compliance instead of in delighting consumers.
Right. Now, when I was at the Golden Band Awards last year, innovation was something that you kind of committed back to your retailers.
Right.
So, next year, is that, what can retailers expect next year from Davidoff? Not specific product, but will they see new products?
They will see new products, and we have obviously put these new products in the market technically before the August 8th, so we can come out with new stuff over the next 12 months as well. But there's no question that innovation will obviously in the American market come to a halt for a while. We have the advantage being very strong in Europe and in Asia that we will obviously still innovate for those parts of the world and hopefully then create some excitement for American consumers as well. So at least when they travel and otherwise, that they can also have a chance to bring it in earlier, because there will obviously be a delay in when we can introduce it, because we have to go through this pre-approval process, which as we speak, we don't know how long that's going to take. Is it going to be 12 months, 24 months, whatever it's going to be?
Does regulation scare you, or is it more, here's what some people have told me globally speaking, the regulation doesn't scare them, but it's the cost and some of the unknowns that are out there. That
is exactly right. I think that the costs are really crippling, and even for a somewhat larger company like ours, it's really a big financial challenge. So that is obviously scary. We know it's a one-time cost, but we have to get over that hurdle. When you have so many SKUs that has to go through a process, it's obviously going to be very expensive. And I think what is the most anxious point right now is the lack of clarity. With the government regulations, there is always a lot left up for interpretation, and we just have to, get much more clarity. And then in parallel to that, as you know, the three associations, CAA, CRA, and IPCPR, has filed a lawsuit. And hopefully, because I think on its legal merits, it's a strong case, but you never know when things come in front of a judge, right? That's
exactly.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So, Tony, you mentioned Europe and Asia. You've had some changes going on there. So the big thing I've seen in Europe is the new subsidiary of Davidoff Germany?
Yeah, exactly. That Germany is the second largest market in the world after the U.S., and we have been working historically through distributors, and now the time has come to start on our own, and January 1 we're opening Davidoff of Geneva, Germany, and in the process we have hired a general manager already, building the team, and when we come to Dortmund, the European equivalent of IPCPR in September, we hopefully can present a strong team, and we are ready to roll from January 1, so we are very excited about.
And then over in Asia, you've signed some
significant investments. January 1, we took majority stake in our long-standing distributor we worked with for almost 40 years in all of the markets outside China. So there we have a majority position, which obviously overnight has expanded our footprint for 30 more retail stores in that part of the world, and obviously a future business for us. And then at the same time we took a minority stake because we cannot have a majority stake in China because it's still a monopoly market. But we have a joint venture there as well, and actually in September, so in roughly a month from now, we're going to open our flagship store number 75 in the world in Beijing, the capital of China. So that's going to be obviously, like for many brands and sectors, obviously a huge future, China.
No, that's. Did you find that kind of going after the Chinese market was different than the rest of Southeast Asia? Was that part of why you went with this strategy?
Yes, it is a very different market because it is a monopoly market. It is traditionally a cigarette market.
Right.
So there, the Davidoff positioning of being a luxury brand plays very well because Chinese consumers are very luxury and very brand oriented. So it has been a great way of building that and then benefiting. That's what we are building towards. Of course, there is a local market, but there's over 100 million, 109 million last year Chinese that travels abroad, and they are very strong consumers when they visit downtown stores or the airports around the world because there is this culture of always bringing back a gift to your family and friends. So we have become a very big gift item. Obviously, in particular, these Zodiac limited editions, we do Year of the Horse, Year of the Monkey, and whatever, which is playing extremely well to the Chinese culture as well.
And this year is Year of the Rooster?
It is. Yeah. That's what we launched. That's the next one. It's in January, but we always launch it here in November. And yes, so that's coming out, and you will see it here, and it's just a resounding success.
Absolutely. I mean, if folks haven't had, Year of the Snake is an all-time cigar in my book.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I still have a couple of those.
You do. You're lucky.
I know. I can't find them anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I went to a store in Georgia, and a friend of mine who also likes it, and we saw a box, and we just, we're buying it, we're splitting it, we'll deal with the wives later on. Right. Good. Yeah. So last year there was a question I wanted to ask you, and I'm gonna wait all year to ask this. So Davidoff's roots go back to Cuba.
Right.
With everything going on in Cuba, have you thought about possibly maybe coming back to those roots at some point and looking at the Cuban market?
We sure have. I mean, this is where the brand was born, right? We left 25 years ago, or in 1989 to be exact. And we are always dreaming of going back, not to replace what we have done in the meantime, but to have a third pillar, you can say, for the Davidoff brand. We have been strong now in Dominican and in Nicaragua blends, and could we get a Cuban pillar again, that obviously would be exciting. As you know, this is all a political decision, so whenever the U.S. Congress or U.S. decide to lift the embargo, that would be the opportunity for us to return. I am in touch with the Cubans. They would love us to come back, but as you probably have heard, they are pretty short of tobacco, and so that's not next week, but I will definitely hope that in the next few years that we will be able to return. But we have also said we will return on the condition that we can really control ourselves, the production, the rolling, the quality control, and all of that. So
because that was why you left in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are not going to go back on the same terms. So we will see, but I'm optimistic, and we would love to go back.
Awesome. Well, Hans-Kristian, I really appreciate the time again. Thank you so much. I wish you best of luck at the show, and I hope we get another chance to talk next year again.
Absolutely. Anytime. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.